Hey bosses, we are back again with another week of Boss Confidential, and this time we are talking about how to leave a great first impression.
Yeah, we are. We are. It's a lot, but
I guess
it's a good thing to know.
I think when I think first impression, I think automatically like in the workplace, but also I guess this can like transcend to like dates and in life and
social situations.
I think the best advice and probably the most cliche advice is probably just literally be yourself. But I was just telling the girls before we hotted up the mics or however you call it, that I think sometimes I'm too energetic, that I kind of get too excited and I use that nervous energy and I exude it, and I think people are kind of like, whoa, like she needs to relax. So that's something I need to work on, is being like myself but also toning down my nervous energy. Maybe before you go into an interview and you want to leave that first good impression, take some slow, deep breaths and kind of get your heart rate down as much as you can, even though it's obviously a nervous and stressful situation. But just know that you believe in who you are and that you are an amazing person, and that it's okay to be bubbly, but just take it down a notch and don't scare them, because I scare people sometimes, I think.
I think obviously a smile is a great thing.
Absolutely.
Smiles are gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love looking at people's teeth, even if you don't have nice teeth. I just like looking at smiles.
My gosh, so funny.
So I think smiling is really great, and open body language. You know, it's very easy to be turned off by somebody that is closed off. You know, their arms are crossed,
Absolutely.
or you know, they're sort of like covering themselves. It just exudes insecurity, or it exudes an attitude. You don't want to introduce yourself with an attitude before people even know you. You know, it's like, who is this girl? Who is this girl?
Right.
You know, unless you're like with a power stance and have your hands on your hips, like, oh, this girl's a badass.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
I think going along with body position, and I haven't looked this up, but something I tend to do that I think is kind of what I'm getting across, I lean forward. Almost like you're interested, you're being empathetic, you're
all
like
about body
you're
language.
understanding. Yeah, so maybe like lean forward a little bit.
Too, and like that has to do with dating as well. Like there's some science that goes into it. You know, obviously the lean forward shows that you're eager to learn more, you want to know more. Also
Right.
having your toes pointed towards the person that you're talking to.
I've heard that.
Is also like a really like small helpful thing, you know, in life. And whenever you're trying to make a connection with somebody, you just want to put your best self out there. So being as friendly as possible, a firm handshake. Let me tell you that I have shook some people's hands that feel like a
Dead
fish.
fish. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
Like, I wish that I had the confidence to be like, no, let's do it again.
Yeah.
Shake my hand again. Because, like, there are so many sucky people. And especially after I moved to LA, like, I'm thinking, like, oh, like, these are, like, power players, whatever.
Right.
These guys with little ass hands shaking my hand like it's a freaking fish. And I'm like, what are you
Donald
doing?
Trump.
Like, what are you doing?
exactly.
What are you doing?
Well, aside from the handshake, I'm a hugger, but I always ask people before I hug them. So I'm like, are you a hugger? Because I'm a hugger. And they're like, oh, yeah, totally. So if you're a hugger, ask and just give a hug.
Yeah, that's a good
There's
way to
nothing
do
wrong
it.
with a
That's a
hug.
good
Just
way to
being,
do it.
showing that you're warm, trying to make them comfortable. Just how I like to do things.
Yeah, good.
Oh, sorry. Something that I do with my hugs, which I think offends some people, because one of my friends hates when I do this, and she gets so mad at me, and I do the pat. She's like, "Don't pat me, Meg." Like I put my arm around her and I pat. Like
I've
I
never
pat people's
noticed
backs.
this.
So I know people that do that. It doesn't bother me, but I also have someone that does like a slow slide.
Oh, that's
as
weird.
They hug. I hate it.
I don't do the
feel
slide.
violated.
Yeah, that's a little
Like,
weird. I do it. I do a gentle pat. Like, oh, nice to like do a
Don't
little.
slide.
Yeah, the
Pat,
slide is
I don't
weird.
know. Pat doesn't bother me, but slide. Whew.
Oh, she hates the pat.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh man. But anyways, these are all so funny.
Making eye contact is important too.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are those people that don't break eye contact ever, and then it's just a little freaky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Tom Cruise, who I met years ago when I was interning, my first impression of him was I was completely freaked out. And later I found out he did not blink when he talked to me, and he was looking like into my soul, it looked like. So he like had said my
Trying to turn
name.
you into a Scientologist.
It was crazy. And then I found out that that is like a Scientologist quality, that they like feel like your being is like within your eyes. So they find out the most by staring at you, and like it you know, they remember things about you that way. And like it was just, I was so freaked out. So I always make sure that I blink now, because
Yeah.
it's very important, because I was very turned off by
That
that,
is
even
so
though it was
weird.
Tom Cruise, and I was like, what the heck?
That's so weird.
Tom Cruise like got into your soul.
Yeah, it was like literally. And then when he said goodbye, he like did it again, and he shook my hand and
Nope.
stared in my eyes, and he was
Nope.
like, "Have fun at college. And I was like, oh my God.
was
You didn't know what to
so
do.
Because if you
weird.
have like too hard of a stare and eye contact, you'd like get a little serial killery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It was freaking me out a little bit. I also think it's important to sell yourself and have sort of in mind before you go and meet a person, whether it be in the workplace, you're doing an interview, or you're going on a date, or you're meeting up with a friend who you've never met before. Just knowing sort of like how you want to present yourself and what you want to say about yourself. Because there's nothing worse than meeting somebody for the first time and them not being sure of what they want to say about themselves. And
Right.
like, well, yeah, you know, like I grew up in New Jersey and like this is what I do. You know, you want to have confidence and you want to, you know, say like, oh, this is exactly who I know who I am.
Right.
Exactly.
Who are you?
You
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
mainly whether a date or a job interview, you know what those first few questions are going to be.
course.
Tell me about yourself. Have answers prepared for those questions. You know who you are. Don't memorize them, but also know that these are the questions that you're
Right.
going to be answering. So sound confident in your answer.
But also be humble.
And humble.
Be humble and confident.
Yeah.
But don't give up too much, because I know some people that give up too much. and I'm
Humble
like,
with a hint of Kanye.
whoa, that's funny.
That's good.
I
On
didn't
that,
make
good
that up. I
phrase.
didn't make that up.
I love
I've
that,
seen
though.
it.
on that note, I think that's a great way to end
It
things.
is.
So leaving a great first impression, obviously smiling, body language, wonderful. You want to be open. You want to be warm. Same thing with Melinda's hugs. You want to ask permission first.
yes.
A solid intro about yourself and being ready to answer those questions that are inevitably going to be asked with confidence. And yeah, I think that you will excel at owning a great first impression.
Yes.
So we'll see you next week.
Own the room.
Yeah. Bye.